Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Trista Marshall is live. We've got it, y'all.
Oh,
Success tonight. That was easy. Whoop, whoop. I'm excited for tonight. I'm so excited. We get to hear from some handsome fellas tonight.
Oh my. Back in the saddle again.
Woo-wee. My kind of Zoom, y'all.
Yeah. Awesome.
We will give everybody just a second, and then we will get started.
Excellent. Looks like we're generating an audience. That's
we
great.
are generating an audience. That's
people that actually want to be here and listen to us.
Listen to us ramble.
Yep.
But hey, is it really rambling if you're so passionate about what you're talking about?
Listen, we're about to share the opportunity of a lifetime. So let's just get ready.
That's right.
Buckle up.
That is right. All right. So for those of you who don't know, we are here to tell you a little bit about an opportunity that we all love so much. And it's impacted all of our families in so many incredible ways. Every single person on here, their family makes 6 figures a year from their cell phones, from an opportunity they found right here on Facebook. And so us ladies get on here and talk a lot about what this opportunity has done for us and what it can also do for you. But tonight, we're switching it up a little, and we are actually going to hear from the men in our lives. Because I think it's not uncommon for people just to be skeptical about what we do in general, just because it's not the norm. It's not something that we grow up learning a ton about. And so I know for us, we really didn't have a reason to be skeptical. We just were, because we were uneducated about what this opportunity was. So tonight we're going to hear from the guys and hear from their perspective about what this opportunity has done for their families. So I'm so excited. Anything you want to say before we get going?
Well, you basically just took everything that I was going to say, but that's all right. I can do this on the fly. No, truthfully, if you're a guy at home and you're hearing this and you think that this is just malarkey, I want you to know that you're not wrong for feeling that way. You're only wrong if you don't allow yourself to be educated on it, because that was truly me. And even to this day, I didn't feel wrong for feeling that way. I was just wrong because I didn't want to be educated on it. And finally, when I allowed myself to open my mind up a little bit and see what this opportunity could really do for our family, the light bulb went off. And so I hope you're that guy tonight. I hope you're that guy that kind of needs the light bulb to go off. And if you are, hopefully by the end of this, that's exactly what's going to happen, because this has been life-changing for all 4 guys on this screen. And as I sit here and speak for all of them, I'm sure they'll echo the same sentiment as we move forward.
Absolutely. So we're going to come back to us kind of at the end and talk about what it's really done for us. But let's start with one of my favorite couples in the world. Let's go to Jess and Andy first. So you guys share your story with us.
First of all, I just want to tell Eli, I've always loved you, but you use the word malarkey, and my level of love and respect for you just jumped a whole nother notch today.
Yeah, I've got a couple of other vocab words that I could pull out tonight. If that's all it takes, I can drop some really good stuff.
I love you, man.
Love you.
Okay, so I don't know, Jessica, you want to tell the story? You want me to jump in?
This is
okay.
you. This is all you.
So
you go for it.
I'll just jump in. I was sort of trying to mentally prepare for what we might talk about today, and I just remember specifically right here in this kitchen, Jessica coming up to me and saying, "Hey, so I think I want to join It Works with Trista." And I said, "No." and she kind of looked at me and said, "No, wait a second. And we literally, the night before, had a pretty serious sit-down chat. Our debt had been escalating, and we were just barely scraping by. And I had gotten a new job, and there was just a lot of things going on. And quite frankly, when she brought this idea to me, I just thought it was terrible timing. It was a terrible idea. I didn't know anything about the company, didn't know anything about what she had in mind. And so it was easy for me just to say, no, I don't think so. So I started thinking about, like, what were my real barriers? Like, what were my real questions that sort of pushed me to just jump right at that and say no. And the first really was the cost. I knew that if we're going to start a business and start this company, it's going to cost us some money. And again, we just had a conversation the night before about really getting on a budget and cutting back on our spending.
I don't do well on budgets, guys.
That's a fact.
I I know
No, that
you
is-
and how much money we used to spend going out to lunch
That
every single day. I know.
So immediately, you know, I literally was like, we just talked last night. Like, we don't have the money to go start investing in other things and you know, wasting our money, so to speak. And so I started asking some questions. I said, what's it going to cost us to get started? And $100 was the answer. And I'm going to be real honest with you guys. We didn't really have $100 just laying around. We didn't really have $100 in our account. I was worried about putting gas in the cars and groceries, you know, in the fridge. And I really didn't want to spend $100 on anything that wasn't going to be something that we really needed. But guys, like, I look back now and I think about that $100 and what it turned into immediately, but also what it has turned into over the last 4 years. And I have just never, ever been so happy to be wrong with something that my wife brought to me. Guys, I was looking today online, and it says that on average, someone who's trying to start a small business today needs about $30,000 to do so. Most of the time, people don't have that money laying around, and so they go get a loan. They try to get office space. They have to hire people. They have to get insurance. They have to buy inventory and equipment and furniture and all these kind of things. And of course, now you're at a risk here, because if this business that you decide to go into doesn't work out, you're looking at owing all that money and not being able to pay it back. And now you've just added on to your frustrations and your debt. So again, guys, to think that like for $100, you have an opportunity at basically no risk, it blows me away. The second question that I asked my wife on that evening was, do you know what you're doing? And do you think you can really make money doing this? Like, is this something that you really know how to do? Because again, I knew nothing about it. And my assumption was, no, you don't know what you're doing. And so do we really want to get into something that we don't know what we're doing? And I think the best part about it is, I really believe one of the reasons that she was so successful is because she didn't know what she was doing, right? She had to jump in there, and she learned, and she asked lots of questions. She got super excited. She knew that she loved the products. She knew that Trista had been having fun and making a little bit of money and using the products. And really her excitement just led her to just get rolling right away. We're talking about a very, believe it or not, at least a couple years ago, what I would consider a very shy, at least when it comes to talking to people she doesn't know, girl from Fortville, Indiana, you know, was able to jump into this opportunity and do great things. Her goal when she jumped in, she signed up on the very last night. There was a bonus being offered to get to Ruby. Is that correct?
Yes.
Make sure you're checking my facts.
I am
here.
fact checking
Okay.
this whole time. Yeah.
And so I sat there and I said, so what you're telling me is that for $100, you're pretty sure that you could make 500. And she said, yeah, I think that I can probably try to get to that first promotion, which is going to get me 500 a month, not just 500. And if I sign up today, I have a chance at getting a $500 bonus. So I start doing the math in my head, and that sounds pretty good, right? Here I'm worried about giving her $100, and she's telling me that she realistically believes she has an opportunity to make 500 a month. So what does she do? She jumps in on fire, goes crazy, loves everything about it, and comes to me about a month later and says, so I hit Ruby, and
so did you.
And I also signed you up as a distributor, and we got you to Ruby. So we're both at Ruby, and we both got the bonus. And so now she's got my attention. And guys, I'm going to be very honest with you. I was not negative towards my wife. I didn't put it down. I didn't say anything negative about the company, but like, I really didn't have a whole lot of belief at that time that this was going to turn into something great. I just thought it was something that she really was going to do, and I was going to support her in that, but I wasn't holding my breath. Now she's got my attention, right? Now we've got some money that is real money, like in our bank account money. And I started asking a lot more questions. And now I started asking another question. I just want to bring this up.
The back rubbing came in at this point.
Oh, honey, I'm so proud of
What can I
you.
do for you?
I was going to say, now you have a sugar mama.
I
So
still haven't started that
then
part.
I really did then now start asking questions like, if this is something that you're going to continue to do and that I'm going to be supportive of, I really do want to know a little bit more about the company. Is this a company that we want to associate ourselves with? And guys, I'm a school principal, and I do have to be careful about things that I'm connected with on social media and who I surround myself with and all those sorts of things. And so I started doing a little bit of homework, and we found out that this company is absolutely the kind of company that we wanted to be associated with. They are a faith-based company. They are just motivated to growing and changing the world. I know right now they're working towards being $1 billion company. And sorry. And their products are amazing. And Jessica knew that was one of the main reasons that she wanted to start, because she already believed in the products that they offered, because she was a customer before she became a distributor. What I really liked from my seat, and again, I'm not a business major, I don't know really too much about it, but I said, what kind of products do they offer? Who buys those products? Do they just have one product? And what we learned is that they've got a lot of different products. They also change those products. They are always coming out with new product lines to make sure that things don't become stale and boring. They've always got new innovative ideas. Their packaging and their production and all of the advertising is just very bright and positive. And man, I started realizing that this was a company that I could stand behind. And guys, I honestly went from being no to okay, I guess, to let me learn more, to now I'm wearing the shirts and I'm going to the conference and I'm trying to meet other guys and I'm doing my research on the computer and I'm asking her how I can help. And it didn't take long for me to make that transformation. But man, I tell you, I know there are so many people out there that don't ever have that opportunity because they say no, like I did. And either the person who's interested just allows that to go, or whatever happens. But I'm so happy that she didn't take my first no very seriously. Guys, I think back now to what this has done and what this has done for our family. And it's kind of hard to put into words in 4 years what's happened. I look at my wife and just see how much she has grown as a leader, as a person. She has just the biggest giving heart, and this company has allowed her to give in ways that we just weren't able to do before. We always wanted to give to our church, give to our family, and now we have been able to do that, and it's just been such a blessing. I'll be honest with you guys, we weren't dreaming 4 years ago. We were living, and we were working hard, and we were doing all the things that everybody does. But man, if you would have asked me back then, like, what are your dreams? What do you want to do 5 years from now? What do you want for your kids? I really wouldn't have had an answer. And now we dream, and we teach it sounds corny, but we dream, and we dream big, and we teach our kids to dream. And now our conversations are never about what if, it's just a matter of when, and how long is it going to take us to get to the next dream on our dream board. And guys, that is just, it's just amazing. And again, it all started with a conversation in our kitchen one night about 4 years ago. So what did I miss?
Isn't that so amazing that you sit here, and I've never even really talked about that with Trista, but I'd say the ultimate form of currency that we find in this company is it's pretty common, almost 100% of the time, that everybody talks about the fact that now they dream. That's really, really cool, because I know the same was true for Trista. The same was true for us as a couple. We just didn't have the ability to dream. We didn't have the time to do it. We didn't have the financial means to do it. Before we move on, there were two things that I wanted to talk about right there. You talked about two things, and being guys, we're allowed to kind of get a little bit rough at times. So there's somebody sitting at home right now, and they're talking about how they'd like to do this, but they just don't have the money. And something that we commonly say is, you don't start this business because you have the money. You start this business because you need the money. You don't start this business because you have all kinds of time. You start this kind of business because you need all the kinds of time. So those excuses that you have, or those roadblocks that you have, if you don't want to call them excuses, they just don't count. Okay, those aren't reason enough to continue on. And Jess wasn't specially trained with magical fairy dust to go out and sell these products. She
is pretty cute though, and she's really contagious when you're around her. Kind of like fairy dust.
She had a reason, and the how just comes right along with a reason that's big enough.
So something that I want to say, because I know like you guys are both just so humble, you won't say it, but one of the things, it's been so awesome to see that Jess, she does have such a heart for giving, and actually because of this company, because she has the time to do it, she has the resources to do it, she opened a food pantry at Andy's middle school, and she serves so many families who are just in, like, they need it. They need the food. And I know that I personally, like, I'm so proud of you for that, and I know your husband is too. And it's just crazy the way that this impacts you in ways you never would have imagined. Like, you never would have been able to do that before. And so I'm just so thankful that you said yes so that you can impact so many other families' lives. So
Andy, we're talking about an opportunity that you told her no to. She came into that kitchen and you told her no. And I literally see, like, knowing Jess, I see this immediate, like, shoulder roll. Like, she was so excited that she was going to do it, and you said no, and she goes, like that. That's exactly what Trista would do. She's all pumped up with this great idea, and I immediately shoot her down, and that's what you did. And that exact same idea has brought a food pantry to your school. That is some serious stuff. Cool. I hope you feel terrible about yourself.
Me too.
Oh, thank you, Andy. We just love you guys so much. Okay, so next.
Thank you.
Eric, we're going to come to you. So Eric's flying solo tonight because Lindsay is out of town. But I love Eric because he wasn't really skeptical in the beginning. He did his research and then he made a decision. He didn't jump to a no right away. But
I think Eric is what we like to call a green.
Yeah. Eric's a little bit of a researcher and a detail-oriented kind of person. So it was one that was like, instead of just saying no, he's like, let me find out. Let me research that. So Eric, go ahead and share your story with us.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a green. So Lindsay's not here with me tonight. We're split because of a sick kiddo. She's at her sister's in Ohio. So 3.5 years ago is when this journey started for us. Lindsay was working full-time at State Farm, which is where I work too. She was pregnant with our daughter, which was our second child at the time. And we were going through this phase of she was feeling that burden of, okay, we're getting ready to have another baby. She's going to have maternity leave, and then she's going to go back to work. She doesn't really want to go back to work. She wants to stay home with the kids, which I was blessed with a mom who got to stay home with me every day when I was growing up. So that was something that was I wanted for my kids when I was married. So I could understand that and supported that and wanted to make that happen too. But it just didn't seem like there was I didn't see a way for that to happen. I mean, society tells us, you got to have your 8 to 5 and your kids go to daycare and you come home and you have a couple hours with your kids before bedtime. And that's just that's the norm. And I didn't see another way around that. And so when she came to me with this idea of It Works, she actually was friends with Eli. So she went to college with Eli and had been seeing the It Works opportunities from Trista through Eli because of posting, tagging Eli. So I think she initially tried to reach out to Trista. Trista didn't friend her right away or something. There's a whole backstory to it. But anyway, so she got some of the information, and I think she kind of held on to it for a while because it was scary for her to take that step and step out into that. And I think God just kind of kept pushing on her. And so she finally brought it to me, maybe 3 or 4 months, I think, after she finally actually heard about it. So she brings it to me, and I wasn't totally skeptical, but I definitely wasn't on board. When Lindsay and I first started dating, she was working in different network marketing business and knew nothing about it. I mean, Eli already mentioned it. I'm one of those ignorant guys. I didn't really know that world. So all I knew was she kept talking about all these amazing trips she's going to go on but I never saw any of that come to fruition. And I never saw her do anything with it. She always talked about this. Oh yeah, she's got this side business, but I mean, it was all pie in the sky to me because I never saw anything from it. So when she came up with this idea, I was like, well, you know, like her reasoning, her why, she wants to stay home with her kids. Completely supportive of that. But like, you know, I don't want to just throw away $100 just for you to do this other thing that you did several years ago that, you know, was nothing. So I kind of was wrestling with it, and we were talking about it. So that's where my green came out. Like, yeah, well, let's look at it. Let's see what it is they do, you know, what the company's about. You know, Andy already mentioned it earlier that, you know, it's a strong faith-based company. It's, you know, family owned and operated. And I mean, so as soon as my research started coming out, it was like, okay, well, I can see why she's excited about this. I could see this would be a potential opportunity. It seemed like there was a method to bring in some additional income that maybe would eventually get her to the place where she could come home to the kids. So, but I knew it was scary for her. So, you know, I finally gave my okay. I was like, you know, it looks like it's a legit company. The products look legit. I mean, I knew nothing about the products. I haven't used the products, but I was supportive of her and her why she wanted to do it. So I was like, you know, let's jump in, give it a try, and let's see what happens. My only caveat was, if we're gonna spend $100, I don't want to just waste $100. So you have to give me your word that we're jumping in, but you're gonna put the effort in. It's not just, oh, here's my $100 and then I never hear about this It Works thing again. Like, you have to put the effort in. And I think, Trista, you told her that give it 6 months. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. It didn't for her. Probably doesn't happen for anybody overnight. But so I was like, she told you to give it 6 months. Give it 6 months. You know, follow. There's plenty of leaders to follow. You got people training to do, people to walk with you, listen to them, like do the steps, and then you have my support. And you know, let's see what happens. So I think my biggest thing was. Because I hadn't used the products. I didn't know the products. So what I always fall back to was, you know, I really wasn't sold on It Works. I wasn't sold on the products. I was sold on my wife. It was what she wanted to do. It was for a reason why a reason to be at home with the kids. And I was fully supportive of that. So it's like, you know, I wasn't putting my faith in It Works or putting my faith in the products. I was putting my faith in my wife, that she was setting her mind to something that she was going to accomplish. And she's never not accomplished something that she's put her mind to. And so for husbands or boyfriends or whoever is out there, if you have someone who is, you know, interested in this opportunity, who has been approached with this, you don't have to know the business. You don't have to know the products. Really just believe in your wife or girlfriend. I mean, if someone has reached out to your wife or to your girlfriend or whoever, they obviously see something in that person that they have the potential to succeed in this business. So, you know, grab onto that and run with that, and just put your faith in your wife and let her run with it and give you her support. So a few months in, that was kind of where I was at. I was still not completely on board. Like, you know, I was grabbing the reins with her, running with her. But I was, Andy said earlier that I didn't want us to be spending more money than what was coming in. And so that was my other thing, like, okay, we're going to spend $100. What else is going to come out of the checkbook, you know? So I was kind of really watching that closely, like, because we're not in the business to lose money. So I didn't want us to be jumping into this and then, you know, not seeing it go anywhere. So I was watching it, not so much, okay, being honest here, I was being supportive, but I was also watching, like, okay, is there a glitch in this? Is something going to happen? Is it going to backfire? Are we going to lose our $100? Or kind of just not fully jumping in the deep end yet, because I was still somewhat skeptical, I guess. But then within, I think 3 months, she hit that first promotion, and like that $500 bonus that Andy was talking about, you know, all of a sudden I see that coming in, getting deposited into the bank account, and like the money starts coming in, and more money's coming in than what is going out. So, you know, I'm becoming a believer. And so she was, we had just had our daughter in November, or no, she was born in September. And so November came around, and we were down in Gulf Shores, Alabama for a wedding. And we're driving back, 12-hour drive back, and she had got a phone call from her boss at work saying they misspoke, that she wasn't going to get 12 weeks of maternity leave because she hadn't been there for a year. She was only getting 6 weeks. And this was coming home like after Thanksgiving break, and she was going to have to come back to work on Monday. And so we had our son who was 1.5, and now our 6-week-old daughter. And I could just see it on her face, like, okay, she is not ready to go back to work. So we had a 12-hour car ride to kind of process and talk through that. And so we made the decision that she wasn't going to go back to work. She'd already been putting all of her effort into this business, but she was really going to up the ante and put all of her chips in. And, you know, I thought she's growing, she's making some income, and if she continues to put the effort in, we'll continue to see the fruits of that. So we came home, and she put in her notice that she wasn't returning to work, and became a full-time stay-at-home mom, work-from-home mom. And since then, we've had our third child. He's 6 months old now, and he's never seen a day of daycare. My daughter's never seen a day of daycare. So my oldest son's the only one that ever had to go into daycare. And, you know, it's all because of this business. And what it's provided for our family, you know, it's hard to put into words. It's not just the finances. I mean, yeah, it's been great, and it's relieved some stress and allowed us to buy cars in cash and everything else. But beyond that, because there's so much more to life than just the dollar. I can't put into words how much I've seen my wife grow. And she's a twin. She's the quiet twin. So she's this shy, introverted person. And to see her putting her life out on social media, which was really hard, but she does it and pushes herself to do it even when she doesn't feel like it. I mean, she puts the work in. And to see how she's grown, and the confidence that she's gained, and the relationships she's made from this. I mean, from Trista and other girls that are on her team, and there's folks here locally that she works with that have become, I mean, her circle and her best friends. And I mean, they get together outside of doing business stuff. I mean, just the relationship she's built from this is well worth the $99 investment we made, because she's so introverted and is a twin. Like, she's never been pushed to have to find that circle, to have that inner circle of friends. So this has given her that vehicle, that outlet to step into and develop those relationships. So more than the money, that to me is the best thing that's come from this business opportunity, for her to grow and see her just really blossom into who God wants her to be. And it's, like I said, it's allowed us to buy cars in cash, and we've given more to our church than we have ever given before. And you know, we have 3 little kids. I mean, 4.5, 3, and now 6 months old. And we have conversations talking about you know, trying to find opportunities to give to people and help people, and how God loves us, and how we want them to show that love to other people. And you can have conversations all day long, but when they're that little, like, how much really sticks. So when we have opportunities to buy gas for somebody at the gas station, or to do something for somebody at the grocery store, or just give a little more, or whatever, and we go out and can show that to them, like, I feel like I'm giving them a lot better teaching moments. And it's because of this business that allows us that freedom, that we don't have to stress about, well, are the bills going to be paid this month, or we have groceries in the cabinet. We have a surplus, so we can do that and help teach our kids what it looks like to be good stewards and givers. And so it's been a blessing for our family, for sure.
One thing that you talked about that I loved, Eric, was when you talked about supporting your wife, and how and how much that did for her. Like, so my initial resistance to this opportunity, it wasn't that I didn't believe in my wife. It was that I didn't believe in these opportunities. Like we talked about before, you know, society's told us for so long to steer clear of these kind of opportunities, and they just kind of lead to dead end roads and all those types of things. And again, it was just because I was trying to protect her and I was trying to protect us. But if you're a guy at home right now and you're in that same state of mind right now, you'd be absolutely amazed with what a little bit of empowerment toward your wife would do for your family down the road. When she feels like she has your support, when she feels like you believe in her, she can really take you some places that you may never otherwise go.
Yeah, and I love that. I absolutely adore Lindsay so stinking much. One, she is a rock star. Like, there's nobody that's going to work harder than her. She is just a mama on a mission, and she's proof that it doesn't matter where you start. She was so shy, had zero social media experience, network, none, but she was just willing to jump in and do the steps because she wanted to be home with her kids so bad. Her why was so massively huge that she was just willing to do it. And I'm sure just that little nudge from you that was like, okay, let's do it, but you're going to go all in. Like, that's all she needed to really completely change your family's life. So I'm so thankful for her. I'm so thankful for you. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, well, and you know, that was a kind of an accountability thing too, because it wasn't just because then she knew that she couldn't kind of let off the gas because she gave me her word. And Eli, you said, you know, that encouragement piece, which is huge, but the flip side of that is we can, as husbands, we can be our wives' greatest encouragers, but we can also be their greatest hurdles. Like if we, you know, life is hard, business is hard, any business is hard. So if our wives are coming home and like they're hearing no, or they're down or had a hard day, like if we're there just to bring in more negativity and like not pick them up and encourage them and say, no, you know, keep going, you got this, like it's going to be a whole lot harder. So if as husbands, like if we can choose to be the encouragers, and like it's just going to be that much more amazing, and they're going to go to those places like you talked about. So I think we have an important role that I think sometimes we don't realize and or can be a detriment. So
yeah, speaking specifically about men in this business and men in the relationship, you know, and this goes for everybody, but Scripture tells us that our tongue has the power of life and death. And what you are able to do is you're able to speak life over her, and in turn, she gave you an unbelievable life.
Absolutely. I know, like, he is like my place to go, where I know if I'm having a bad day, he's going to say, okay, well, let's not stay there. Let's get up. Let's get going. What can you do to kind of turn it around? Or you like, it's so good to have your spouse as that like place that you can go, that they're not going to let you stay there. They're not going to bring you down further. So thanks,
most of the time,
thanks,
it's good to have me there.
Most of the time. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. I love that you're on here, even though Lindsay wasn't there with you. We appreciate you so much for hopping on.
Absolutely.
All right, Christy and Chad, let's hear it, friends.
Hello.
Hello. It's all you.
You know, I'm kind of new to this format, so if you see me go that way, that's a kick under the table. And you know, I've gotten encouragement under the table there tonight. But so you know, I'm a lot of the things I've heard tonight going last. You know, I don't want to repeat too much, because I think a lot of the, you know, early objections, you know, in your mind as you think through the process have been spoken aloud. I think for us, you know, the order of things, like, you know, in our journey are a little different. So I'll speak to that tonight. You know, I remember when Christy first started talking about it, she had, you know, was watching Jessica and Andy's journey and seeing their success, and would talk to us about it. And I knew Andy, you know, we would be at principal meetings together, and I'm like, okay, this guy's real, you know, this is real, and they're having great success. And so when she approached me with that and said, you know, I think I want to do this, you know, our reasons were different. You know, we weren't, you know, struggling for money, but we didn't have a lot of extra money to go get experiences for our kids. You know, we invested in our house. You know, we have a renovated farmhouse, piece of land, and you know, anytime we get an extra dollar for a vacation, we'd have a septic tank go out or, heating pump. And so, that was her motivation is, I want to take a good vacation. Right. And, and so my early thoughts were, okay, two things. One, time, like, cause I know she's an educator, a teacher, and, put a lot of extra time in the classroom and at home, even working for her classroom and her kids. Like, how are you going to get the time? And two, it was the opposite of everything
I knew this was coming.
I mean, when we go to buy a car, she would drive separately and pick out the car and drive. Do you like it? And then she would leave because she hated the whole negotiating part and just had to leave. Right. So that
my face is turning red just thinking about it.
Or go to an auction. No, absolutely not. So for her to want to go into a sales oriented field, I'm like, are you sure? Like, do you know, not in a I'm just like, that's really what you want to do? And so she said, yeah, I want to, more than anything, get some experiences for our family. And so, like Andy mentioned, there's not too many businesses out there for $99 for the potential without going to college or, and paying for all this extensive training that you can start a business like that. So I was like, all right, let's see what happens. And, one of the amazing thing, she worked her business, and it's proof you work from your phone, right? So she had a Motorola phone, and we didn't have a working desktop at home. We used our teacher laptops a lot.
It wasn't a flip phone.
No, it wasn't a flip phone, but this girl would be, and she really balanced her family, and while we were driving, she might get on her phone and check messages, or at the kids' game, before a game, after game, quick, but kept the balance, work from her phone. And the beauty of it is there's training out there. There's, she's concrete sequential. So, you're telling me this is what I need to do to be successful. Jessica, this is what you did. Okay, let me do that. I can do that. And she's, has been consistent with that. And it's been an amazing journey, and she met her goal very quickly. I mean, we went to a Hawaii vacation. We went 2 weeks in Hawaii, and she was at the point that she had done so well so quickly that it was while we were sitting on top of a cliff in Hawaii, we started talking through it, and we talk about the dreams you mentioned, and she's like, I think I can do this. Like, I think I can do this full time. And we came back, and, at the end of the year, she put in her resignation and focused on this, which was hard for her. She'd been an educator for 20 years, and now outstanding educator, and 20, even longer, this a long time. But she has really stepped into that role. I've been amazed by it. Not that I didn't have faith in her, it's just the opposite of what I thought her skill sets were, but or comfort levels were. But for us, it's just been an amazing journey. Like you said, I just let her do her thing. What do you need from me? Okay. But I was just watching to see if it's either going to develop or not. And it developed very quickly for her. And, the checks started coming in. I was like, all right, Andy, I started like, okay, where's my t-shirt? All right. And let's go to some conferences and become more engaged with the company along the way. But it has done tremendous things for our family. We, have paid off vehicles. We just build upon. We have teenage kids, and so the beauty is teenagers still need their mama, and she gets to go cook for the football players or go decorate locker rooms, or if they're sick, she's home. We just build upon, we're doing things that we would never have been able to do while our kids were still in the house. But to take on those experiences right now, provide those experiences right now. And that's been a difference maker. The dreams, in our dream board, is getting bigger. And so it's been an amazing journey for us. I'm very proud of her and what she's done. And so little time and just appreciative of the business and what it's done for our family.
It's really good stuff, man. That's fantastic. Congratulations to you guys. It's just great. It's great stuff. One thing that you talked about there were she just followed the steps. She just watched Jess. She asked Jess how to do it, and Jess same way with Trista, and Trista same way with her upline, and Lindsay same way with Trista, asking what are the steps. And as guys, a lot of times when the initial opportunity gets brought to us, I think inevitably we get to the point where we say, well, how much money can you actually make doing this? And sure enough, my wife brings this chart, and it has these massive numbers on them, like all the way up to over $500,000 a year. Well, I see $500,000 a year, and immediately growing up the way I grew up, I think about complexity. I think, well, that's got to be pretty complex to get to the point where you're making $500,000 a year, or even $100,000 a year. You're thinking, man, that's got to be a pretty complex system or a complex process. But what you learn is that it's really just full of simplicity. It's just step after step after step, very, very basic, same thing over and over again, and keeping your nose down. And that's why you have 4 different ladies from 4 different walks of life that have been relatively successful in this business, because it's super, super simple. And it's really cool.
Well, the thing I love about Christy, so she's a teacher at heart, right? But the thing about this business is if you can just bring on those new team members and teach them to do the steps, and that's why she's so freaking amazing. She has brought so much value to our team just because of her. She's a teacher at heart, and so that floods into everything she does. So while I know that you miss teaching so much, but to have the ability to still teach in a different way and also have the time with your teenage kiddos before they're off to college or off to doing whatever it is that they're going to do after high school, I know that that is absolutely invaluable to you as well. So,
and I will say, like, I miss teaching, but this fills my cup in the same way that teaching filled my cup. You know, just that ability to help people and to teach other people how to do the same thing, and, you know, to have a hand in changing someone's health. What an amazing gift that is.
absolutely.
Or to help someone change their finances. What an amazing gift that is. So I still, that teacher cup still gets filled, definitely, and for sure.
And you're rocking out your 90-day challenge, sister. Like, whoop, whoop, turn it into a hottie. I love it. I love it so much. So tell us really quick. So I know you mentioned the Hawaii trip, but the last time you said this on an opportunity Zoom, my mouth like hit the floor. So originally, your Hawaii trip, how long of a goal was that for you? Like, you were thinking,
Well, I joined at the end of Brett's 8th grade year, and my fear was, we're not going to get to take a vacation before he graduates. And I just wanted one nice, you know, not Red Roof Inn kind of vacation, you know what I mean? And so it was a 4-year goal. I thought, you know, spring break, maybe before he graduates high school, that will be our big trip. And so I joined in March of his 8th grade year. And by August, you know, before he started his freshman year of high school, we had booked the trip. So we went that following, we went, you know, his freshman year of high school, we went to a 2-week trip to Hawaii, top of the line hotels. And I'm telling you, it changed the trajectory of our family. It truly, that trip changed all 4 of us for sure, forever. So.
I love it.
Chrissy, we were first of all, congratulations. We were getting along just fine until you bashed Red Roof Inn.
What's wrong?
I meant that, not that there's anything wrong with it.
Somebody turn off the screen now.
Oh my gosh.
Because next weekend, I've got her booked at Red Roof Inn.
Hey, it's called breakup in here. It's crazy.
No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations
Yes.
to you guys. You deserve every second of it.
You're just proof that, like, you come in and you do the things and your ignorance on fire, like what can happen to your family in a matter of months. It's insane.
You
So,
just called a principal and a teacher ignorant.
I did not.
You did.
I did. Ignorance on fire
We're
with the
not
business, about
offended.
this business in particular. So awesome. Okay. Do you want to say anything about our story?
Sure, I can. I'll try to be short. Not very good
He's
at
not
that,
good
but
at
I'm
that,
going to do my
so we'll
best.
see.
Well, how long has it been? A little over 4 years
Yep.
now. So a little over 4 years now. Tristan and I were doing the things like Andy said. We were living life, and we were doing everything that we had been told, and we weren't doing too bad a job of it. I felt like we were a little bit ahead of the game, but no matter what we did, we were still just getting by, always having to rob Peter to pay Paul, to knock our bills out, or to chop away at some debt, or to save up to go on vacation. And it just wasn't as joyful as what I thought doing the things was going to be. It just wasn't as filling as what I thought doing the things was going to be. And we had I was a firefighter. I owned a small business. She was a registered nurse, and we were doing the all-American things. And what we realized is that we weren't necessarily living the all-American dream. We had the all-American jobs. That's what we had. And not that those jobs were bad jobs. They were phenomenal jobs. If you have to have a job, they were the best ones to have. But we were still missing out on a lot of things. And I didn't even realize how many things we were missing out on, because I've always been this massive dreamer that we're going to do these really big things. And I guess what I never really thought of was like, how am I going to do those really big things? They're hairy and audacious, but how do you get there if you don't have the financial means or the time to get those things done? Really optimistic, just didn't know what was going to change until I realized that you have to change some things in order to make those changes. So Trista came to me, much like Jess did, and said, hey, I'm thinking about joining It Works. And I gave the same response. No, you're not. We're just going to
But his no lasted a long time.
Well, and I tell you what, the no lasted a long time, but that was because Trista respected my wishes, and she didn't bring it back to my attention for 6 months. That entire 6 months, I continued to wipe my brow and thank the Lord that I had dodged a bullet of the network marketing curse. And again, like I said earlier, I was just uneducated. You know, my parents had always told me to stay away from network marketing pyramid schemes. They don't work. They only work for the select few people, and you need to just stay away because they're going to be a pit that you throw money in time and time again until you decide to quit. So I was trying to do my due diligence and be a good husband and protect her from something that was going to fail her. I didn't think that she would fail at anything that she did, but I thought this company would fail her. I thought these types of opportunities failed people, and so I was keeping her out of that trap. 6 months later, she came to me again and said, hey, I'd like to join. I did a lot of praying. Still, my answer was no, but the next morning, I could tell that she was probably disheartened by my response, and she asked if she could join again. And I said, you know what, if you want to join, go for it. You know, dive in head first, still fully expecting that she would fail at this. Again, not because she's not good, but because the opportunities aren't good. And she certainly proved me wrong. I don't know if she proved me wrong or even proved herself right. She proved the company right. She proved the opportunity right. She proved that if I'll just do this step and this step and this step continuously, and I'll follow the lead of my great leaders, and I'll eventually be successful. And eventually came quicker than, or sooner than later, really. I think you went Ruby quickly. What, first month? She went Ruby. Rubies are $500 a month, and so that $500 a month came in, and now I'm watching from the background, going, "Hey, that's not too bad." Second month in, kind of the same story. Had another promotion, and to speed this up, because I could talk all night about it, she got 9 months in, I think 9 or 10 months in, and she had replaced her registered nurse salary. And I'll never forget it, really. I pulled in the driveway after, was I coming home from the fire station, or I don't know. I came home from the fire station, and she was standing in the driveway holding her, was it on your phone? Holding your phone, and she had just been paid on her phone, and the amount had 2 digits in front of a comma. And I said, "That's pretty good. That feels pretty good." Like I never would have anticipated that, actually. And so she had replaced her nursing salary and a whole lot more. And she had said, "Hey, you know, what do you think about me coming home to be with the kids full time?" Well, a lot like Eric, I had a mom that was at home with me. And the memories that I made with my mom growing up, I would not trade for anything. Nothing. And I always wanted that for my wife. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. So she made it happen. She was able to come home to be with the kids full time. Another year went by, and we continued to grow in the company and continue to learn and continue to help other people. See, that's the cool part, is you get an opportunity to help other people. So we continued to help other people, and it led us to the point where I was able to come home. So I left my position as a career firefighter, and I came home to be with the kids full time. And so we have been home now together for almost 3 years. And to think about that just blows my mind. I'm completely humbled by that. I have not punched a time clock in 3 years. I haven't had to have a chief call me and say, hey, you need to go here or go there. I haven't had to have a boss say, hey, I'm going to need you to come in for overtime. Again, not that those things are the worst things in the world, but to have the freedom is the best thing in the world. That's non-negotiable. It's absolutely surreal to me to say 3 years. Like we were talking the other day, we still have skeptics that come into our lives and they say, well, what if it falls apart tomorrow? What if that company closes its doors tomorrow? Well, all I tell them is, when's the last time you had a 3-year vacation? When's the last time you had that? Because I've had a 3-year vacation. Not to say that I don't work. Of course I work. I work alongside my wife and I pursue dreams and other avenues, but I've had a 3-year vacation that I wouldn't trade for anything. So if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, hey, you need to go back to work, I'll do it with a smile on my face because I've had a 3-year vacation because she was able to say yes. Now, the good news is this company isn't going anywhere. It's here for the long haul and it's structured appropriately for that. And I'm just really excited to see where it takes us moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's crazy to look back over the last 4 years and to see, we can't think of one single area of our life that is not better because of this company. It completely changed the trajectory of our family in the best, most positive way. And I wish I could say it like over and over. It's not about the money, but it's about the time freedom, the resources, it's brought us closer together. We have more friends. I'm more confident. I believe in myself. He is able to pursue his passions and his dreams and not punch a time clock. Like, it literally has changed everything for us. And it started with one decision to say, you know what? If I don't make a change, nothing is ever going to change. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and tomorrow, if I keep saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, eventually I'm going to look back at a bunch of yesterdays where everything stayed the same. Nothing changes until we decide to do something different.
Well, isn't that unbelievably true? I say it all the time, but if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, man, I just don't know if I want to do this, I think I should probably just continue to play it safe. There are so many people, and I was probably going to be one of them, and so were you, and so is everybody on this screen. We were going to live the same year 75 times, and we were going to try to call that life. That's what we were going to try to do. And to live that same year 75 times is just no good for me. If it's the decision you decide to make, I respect that, but I promise you, there is a really, really big world out there that you need to be pursuing. And this opportunity provided us the opportunity to ensure that not one of those years is going to mirror the last. It's going to continue to get better and better and better. And I can't think of another opportunity that I could join for $99 and create that kind of freedom stepping stone moving forward.
Absolutely. So I know we could go on and on and on all night long. So we'll wrap this up. But if you have just the smallest inkling of a little flutter in your heart that maybe this is something that you would like to try, or maybe it's something that could impact your family in a positive way, I just encourage you to reach out and ask a question. There's no harm in just finding out the info so that you can make the best decision for your family. We are all an open book. We have an incredible team here to help you and guide you. Like we've all said, it's just following the steps, and we're here to show you exactly what those steps are. So with that, we will get off of here, and we can't wait to see who joins. Good night, guys.
Night, guys.